Wow. Hello and thank you for joining us on the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzugbakun. Today on the program, President Buhari says Nigerians have lost confidence in the country's security sector as Sultan Christian Association of Nigeria tells federal government to end incessant killings. House of Representatives insists on reviewing Chinese other loan agreements as LCCI, Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, back investigation. And later on the show, Journalist Hangout Midweek Special features school reopening amid strict adherence to COVID-19 protocols. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otoju, while Olabisi Deji Folutile will join us via Skype. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for joining us. At last, heads of security agencies in Nigeria received head dryer from the President and Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari. At the Security Council meeting in Abuja, President Buhari told them to rejig their strategies as Nigerians have lost confidence in the security sector. Meanwhile, more Nigerians and organizations continue to cry over the spate of killings across the country. The Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar, and the Christian Association of Nigeria are urging the federal government to urgently arrest the situation. Let's hear from the National Security Advisor, Babagana Mogono, who briefed journalists after the Security Council meeting.
Yes, Mr. President said, you are doing your best as far as I'm concerned, but there's still a lot more to be done. I am more concerned about the promise we made to the larger Nigerian society, and I am ordering an immediate re-engineering of the entire security apparatus. And this is something that I believe will be done in a very short time. But I just want us to keep hope alive. I know how everybody feels. I know how Nigerians feel. Definitely the President is not oblivious of the fact that securing the nation is the primary responsibility. Unless there is a collective concerted effort to deal with this problem, it will only result in this country hurtling inexorably down a bottomless pit of self-destruction. We don't want that to happen. And one of the ways of dealing with this issue is by using a whole of society approach in conjunction with a whole of government approach to achieve a whole of nation approach.
The NSA, Babagana Mogono, the President told service chiefs that Nigerians had lost hope on security setup. But how did we get here? Because I don't even expect the President to be telling us that Nigerians have lost hope, because Nigerians they've said it. The National Assembly has passed a vote of no confidence on the service chiefs. Everybody has asked Mr. President that, look, it's time to rejig your security architecture. So it's now the sole prerogative of the President to do something. So why is the President saying it that Nigeria has lost hope?
I don't understand the President anymore. I have to tell you the truth. You see, we told him to rejig the security apparatus. He's passing that responsibility to the service chiefs. That's what we're saying. Because listening to Babam Ghana Monguno, whom I must admit is most likely the most brilliant NSA we have had, and because he's so very educated, but he has achieved little or nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that if Monguno would look at himself before the mirror, he will confess to himself. If it's confession time, he will confess to himself that he has achieved little or nothing.
Whether they allow him to achieve
The truth is, he's saying that the President said, as far as I'm concerned, you have tried your best. Is this the best that we can get? Is this the best? Security has never been this bad in our country. This is a fact. If we had Boko Haram during Jonathan's time. And Boko Haram was such a big problem. It was a mess. It was one of the reasons Nigerians didn't let Jonathan come back. But we now have bandits running riot in the northwest. We have bandits now. Go to Zamfara, go to Kebbi, go to Sokoto, go to Niger. Ayo, as I speak to you now, Boko Haram some elements of Boko Haram have relocated to Niger State. When I first heard on VOA Hausa service that some Boko Haram elements are now in Zamfara, I didn't believe. But the Shekau faction has released a video shot inside Niger State territory. So some of the people that we call bandits today are actually Boko Haram men. They are killing themselves. Boko Haram men are slaughtering themselves over leadership tussle in the Lake Chad basin, the part of Nigeria that they still occupy. Although you will hear that they don't occupy any area. The Air Force that continues to go and bomb them where they are holding meetings. Is it not inside Nigeria that they are bombing them? Can the Nigerian Air Force go and be bombing in Niger Republic or Chad without it bringing problems? So I'm telling you now that as a result of the conflict within their group, these guys have now decided to go to different parts of the country. Some of them have run away, they've relocated. It is extremely dangerous. We are in perilous times. And the kind of reaction that Nigerians expect of the president is not to defend the appointees. If we listen to Monguno right up to the end, he was even saying that the president expects the people that he has appointed to deliver on the promise made to the Nigerian people. You get the point? Because he promised to secure us better. So the president expects, Monguno said that to journalists, that the president expects the people that he has appointed to deliver on that promise. That he also used the word that the president is not an octopus. We admit, he cannot do everything. He's an old man. In fact, that things are this bad in the country, I'm sure in his heart, he will be wondering that, what is going on? I never knew these things will be this bad. But the people that he has appointed have a responsibility to deliver. How many people, Nigerians, are being killed for fun? When the president said people have lost hope, I'm sure he has heard what is happening in his home state of Katsina. What do people do? When bandits attack them, do you know what they do? They call soldiers of the Niger Republic. They will now come in record time, help them to chase the bandits away.
Soldiers from another country?
Yes.
In Niger State?
Yes. They will come and enter that village and chase bandits away. I can play the interview. The people say, what they were saying is that when we call our own security forces, they don't come on time. Before they come, they will have slaughtered us, finish. So, but when they call the Nigerian gendarmes, they get here quickly and they chase those people away. So the president probably had heard that, although I cannot bet that he had. But he knows now that people have lost hope.
This is serious.
His own home state is a place where people are being killed to the point that the emirs, district heads went to the emir of Katsina and told him that, look, we are going to leave our domains if security situation does not improve in Katsina. We will flee. We will vote with our legs. So is that bad? And what Nigerians want is for you to solve the problem. If you want to keep the service chiefs, no problem. But there must be progress. There must be improvement. We can't continue to be in a situation in which there's no improvement, and then you don't want to do away with them. You don't want to try new hands, new ideas, and then you will say that you think they have done their best. I don't think any of those guys themselves will by themselves open their mouths and say they've done their best. They will believe that their best are still ahead. As long as Nigerians are being killed in this manner, they will not have the locus to say they have done their best.
BC, now what do you expect the president to do in a situation like this? The House of Reps are insisting on the sack of the service chiefs.
Yeah, I think the president is the only one that probably knows why he's still keeping these service chiefs, because almost everybody that matters that should complain in the society has complained. You know, the Senate has called for the sacking of the service chiefs. You know, the House of Reps have called for the, sacking of the service chiefs. And even numerous Nigerians have made that call in the past. But I want to believe that the president, as the president of the country that has probably more information than what the ordinary Nigerians, have access to, must have his reasons for keeping them, which we do not know. But to say that the security situation in Nigeria has degenerated is, to put it mildly. Remember that over 76 people were killed, even in the last few days in this country. We have different kinds of attacks, some in Kaduna, we have in Kogi State, we have in Katsina, all over the country, to the point that even the Shehu of Borno has said that he's no longer secure in his own territory. We saw the attack on the Borno State governor, and before, ordinary Nigerians were, seemed to be at the receiving end of this security malaise. But now it has gone beyond that. Almost everyone, is feeling it. I mean, you can imagine the governors forum, coming out to say that even they themselves, they are no longer safe. You get it? So it's a serious issue, and I think it's something the president should do something about. For me, it goes beyond just saying that, Nigerians have lost confidence or that Nigerians expect more. We want to see more happening. Nigerians want to see something happening, not just, recognizing the problem. We want to see an end to the problem.
The rhetoric has always been that Mr. President is giving them a yellow card, or they are getting a red card.
Yes.
This is the last warning. Now I discovered that the NSA just got back his voice. For a long time he has been submerged with the politics of the villa.
Bypassed.
Yes, politics of the villa. This is one of the few times I've seen the NSA assertive reading like a riot act on behalf of Mr. President to the service chiefs. Now, I think Nigeria deserve more than this is the last time, giving them last warning, and the NSA come back to us to be telling us that, look, Mr. President is tired. We don't want to know if Mr. President is tired or not. Nigerians are tired.
Nigerians are tired. It's not about, you see, the president said some time ago, and that's why what the implication of this, what is going on is that whenever the president says something, people will just take it with levity. Because the other time he said, no, excuses will no longer be tolerated. Then we waited. Then he made another statement where he appeared to even be explaining away the failures of the service chiefs. You understand? Where he appeared to be rationalizing what's going on in a way. It's not his job to defend the service chiefs. No. It's not his job. The thing is, these service chiefs, they've done very well. You must give it to them. But they can't be there forever. And the truth is, when diminishing return begins to set in, you must know that that is the time to try someone else.
That is...
No one in his rightful senses can say Burate has not done well. No one in his rightful senses will say that Sadiq Baba Abubakar has not done well. In my view, is the greatest chief of air staff we've ever had. And I can defend it on a 1-hour program. Just talking about what has happened.
The chief of air staff?
Yes, just moving from one achievement to another. Whether it's infrastructure or anything. But the truth, he can't be there forever.
Should go.
As no matter how people think that I like him because of the work that he has done. I do not hate Burate himself. I've met him one-on-one. We shook hands. He expressed his respect for me.
But the bottom line is that...
But the bottom line, they can't be there forever. It is impracticable to keep them there forever. I'm sure that no matter what, even if you keep them there for 10 years, the things that they have done, there's no way history will still judge them in a very positive light for some of the achievements that they've recorded.
It could even hurt the military tradition.
Of course, that is happening.
To hurt the military
Of
tradition.
course, that is happening. You know, but that is their problem in the military. We don't want to go into it so that they don't say we are inciting young officers, this and that. No, that is their problem. But our own problem is that Nigeria is not safe. And the president knows it. The governors know it. At no time have we faced a situation in which senators are saying, no, this is the problem we are facing. Go and read some of what Ndume is saying. Ali Ndume, his own word is not safe. And I've mentioned it's not fiction. And Baghdad, that is the word that it comes from in the Goza area. It's not safe.
Goza?
Yes. Goza town.
Well, we used to have the
Goza town and Pulka could be safe. But you can't say that of communities around it. And Leon Dume knows that I'm saying the truth. He knows. That's why I'm mentioning his word. Eh? Except you want to risk your life. That's when you go to his word.
So
because all of those areas, the boys are there.
So most of these representatives that are just seated in Abuja or
the
state capital.
One day we will do a program. These lawmakers in the Northeast, some of who have not gone to their hometown since 2014, I will bring out all their names. Who dare not go to their
2014.
I'm telling you. Who dare not go to their towns because their towns are not safe.
Cleaned up the constituency.
They will not. Even this last election, both 2015 and 2019, elections were largely held in the IDP camps in Borno State. This is a fact. INEC cannot deny.
Majorly in Maiduguri.
IDP camps, Monguno, all of those. About 5 local governments could be in Monguno, the IDP camp in Monguno, which is the biggest. So those ones will now vote for the 5 local governments. You understand? Because they can't go to their states, their local governments. They don't want to die. So this is the thing. Nigerians deserve to be better secure. You know how it is that because we supported the president, you know that people are poking fun at us. Do you know how many times you've been insulted, for example? Sometimes you will tell me. What can we do? We can only advise the president. Take this action. We advise you. We love you. We supported you. It's on record that we supported you. Even if some of your supporters see some of us as enemies now. Well, we supported you. So it's the best that we want.
Obviously, it's worrisome. But Jide alluded to the fact that Boko Haram released a video indicating that they are not, they are presently in Niger State. Is this not really worrisome? Because we know that they have their enclave in the northeast. It's finding it difficult to hear us. Now, Jide, to cap it all, the Nigerian Labour Congress president, is seeking help from, want the president to seek help from the international community.
I agree absolutely that we need help. It has reached the point that we need help. We need help. And it is in the area of technology, because technology can make a big difference for us in this war against these bandits. I was doing some research and focusing on America. The most defended border in the world is the America-Mexico border.
Really?
The most defended, the most protected.
Yeah.
Because the Americans don't want those drug cartels to come into their country.
A lot of Mexicans inside America.
No, they come into their country through that border. But you know what? They have used technology using what to call the underground radar to pinpoint locations. And there's also something called LIDAR, which is light detection and ranging. It will enable you, even in dense forests, it will enable you to see people and locate exactly where they are. Our forests are not as deep as the forest in Congo, not to talk of those forests in the Amazon forest in South America. So technology will help us locate these people because they are hiding inside forests. Game reserve in Niger State, Boko Haram and other terrorists, they've now taken over game reserves. Rugu forests, terrorists are taking over Rugu forest. And this is a forest that stretches up to Central African Republic. We cannot, I think, where help will be useful to us is in the area of technology. Those, the Americans, the Chinese, they need to provide for us the kind of technology that can help us, locate these people and take them out.
All right, still to come. House of Representatives insists on reviewing Chinese other loan agreements as LCCI man back investigation. We'll be right back after this time out. Welcome back. The noise raised over the loan agreement between Nigeria and Export-Import Bank of China is still on. A particular clause which allegedly yields sovereignty of Nigeria to China in the $400 million loan for Nigeria is the bone of contention. Now, the House of Representatives has insisted on reviewing the Chinese loan on other agreements signed with other countries. It has summoned the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, Communication, Ali Patani, and Finance, Budget, and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, to shed light on this loan. Controversial loan, you say, and I've been reading it, but I just don't want to believe that we want to get the loan, want to develop some certain infrastructure in the country, and at the same time, we are signing out our sovereignty to another nation. I don't know how that works and who signed that loan. Babajide.
Well, the National Assembly agreed with the executive that they should get these loans. I wonder why it is at this time that they are now complaining. If you ask me, can we do without loans at this time? I will say, if we want to continue along the path of infrastructure development, no. Because
we don't have the capacity.
You can't find the money with which you can do all those big projects now. You can imagine if we were to build the Third Mainland Bridge now. You think we'll find the money?
Not in this guys.
So you have to look for loan. And all of those bilateral bodies through which we could, apart from the Chinese, through which we could get loans, it's like we have overdrawn our
lifeline,
our credit at those places. So we are stuck with the Chinese. I'm not against taking loans for infrastructure, but I can only suggest that we try the PPP idea. Build, operate and transfer. I believe that is better than simply going all over the place and chasing loans, because we have issues even with repaying the loans that we've taken, and the quantum of money that goes into budget servicing is already too high for my liking. So, but the Chinese are unusual people in terms of the moratorium, because they give you the grace. They can say, okay, start paying after 7 years. They can say, okay, we are giving you 2% interest. There's no country, nobody gives you that kind of loan.
Condition.
So they are the ones who will give you conditions that you will find extremely favorable, and then you want to do business with them. And then when it comes to corporate governance, they are also very relaxed, because all of the Chinese companies that you see, they are also owned by the government. You see a Chinese construction company is in fact owned by the government.
Chinese government.
So, and the Chinese are prepared to give you bribe to take their loan. But this EU, America, and the rest of them, because of solid corporate governance, they are not likely to give you any bribe because they want to give loans. So there are all kinds of reasons why we have this situation. I don't believe that it is sovereignty that has been taken away. If you are giving someone loan, there ought to be conditions that will be met. And if that person defaults, what happens? For the Chinese now, if we default, they simply take over the facility, they will maintain it, they will run it, and if it's rail transport, for example, they will be the ones to determine what your people pay. That is what frightens many people. It's not taking sovereignty away in the real sense of the word, but economic sovereignty is what we are talking about. There's somebody that's given you a loan. There has to be some conditions that will make you fulfill your own end of the bargain. Otherwise, nobody goes into such negotiations. You simply give you the loan and turn back. No, you must meet some conditions. And if you default, then they take back the facility and begin to run it.
Some people are very skeptical about these conditions given by this this loan as a precondition for getting this loan.
Actually, I see the case differently. I think China is becoming Africa's new bride. And for the simple reason, of course, Babajide mentioned it, that, they have a favorable means of, repayments, and which is true. They can actually renegotiate your repayment terms. It can take you years and years for you to repay. But then we need to note something, that unlike the Paris Club, for instance, that can forgive loans, maybe if they discover that a country may not be able to repay back, China is not likely to forgive your loan. That is the problem, and that is the reason why people are concerned about Chinese loan. And that is why I think, we need to actually look at what we are getting loans for. We need to actually look at our repayment terms. And we also need to look at, what we are likely to get from what we are committing loans into. If we are building infrastructure, for instance, we need to understand for how long are this infrastructure going to, yield the money or with profits, for instance. Not that, so I think generally we need to be careful and really do a thorough analysis of our loans. Okay, Babajide is saying that it's not going to be they are not going to take away our national sovereignty. But then if a country takes away your economic sovereignty, what remains? If you are no longer, if at the end of the day, China comes around to tell us, this is what we can charge for this infrastructure, this is what you can pay, then it means that they are indirectly ruling the nation. So that is the main reason why we actually need to do our analysis carefully. We need to look at the loans, we need to look at what they are meant to achieve, and we need to match everything together and ensure that, yes, we need this loan for our infrastructure. But then, are we actually channeling these loans to this infrastructure? Are we collecting loans that are greater than what we need? Or, are these loans just about what we need? And, to avoid wastage and all of that. So I will support that such things be carefully analyzed.
In terms of build, operate, and transfer that you spoke earlier, if you go to, I've seen something in Lagos Airport, I've seen something in Abuja Airport. The face of the airport, they're just about finishing now, but I think the car park now is under use. But I know that is a kind of agreement between Nigeria and China. And I want to ask, they seem to be so interested in our economy and major projects now that you see. What is the catch? Are they so benevolent, so generous? There must be some a kind of underlying factor to all this. Are they just developing us so that they are helping a brother in need? What is it? What is in it for the Chinese government?
Oh, they are just they are trying to. There's real competition between them and the U.S. And the West in general. So they are trying to gain greater traction with us. They will do all kinds of things to make you happy at this stage. They want you to rely more on them now than on the Americans, you know, and it's affecting us. Even some weapons that America would like to sell to you, because they can see that you are leaning towards the Chinese, they will refuse. And so sometimes on funding that you want to buy even spares for maybe some airplanes, you know, the Americans and the Britons will try to frustrate you, make it difficult for you to get those spares. Why? Because they can see that you've been leaning towards the Chinese and the Russians. China wants to, everyone talks about Africa being the next frontier. So China wants to position itself as the country to benefit the most from friendship with this continent. After all, when you look back, you cannot say China colonized us. But many people still have reservations against the West being our colonial masters, well, be it France that you're talking about or the UK, you know. But they have come trying to make us happy. But we have to look beyond a country allowing you a long period of time within which you can repay your loan. A country giving you rock bottom, I mean, extremely low interest that you cannot get anywhere else. At the end of the day, when you have so many of these loans to contend against, the possibility of paying back, I mean, paying back will become very difficult. And that is when they will move in and say, okay, since you have defaulted,
you can manage this on your behalf.
Oh, no, it's part of the agreement.
Like international airports, we take it over for 25 years.
And then they will be running it themselves. They will be running it themselves until they can recoup the money. And the truth is, our own people may not, when they bring their own technicians and all that, and the Chinese rarely even transfer technology. That's one thing that I do not like about them. They rarely transfer technology. They are not interested in that. Usually they send their people, you see their people who run the thing. Everything. Now, when they do that, will our people be able to pay the fares, for example? The railway fares, will our people be able to pay if it is firmly in their hands, if we fail to meet our obligation?
The economic consideration that our government can put in place will not be there.
That is why many people think that economic strangulation can result from this incessant taking of loans from these people, because at the rate at which we are going, even nearly all of our revenue is going to debt servicing, yet we continue to take loans. We can say that, oh, it's in 20 years' time that they expect us to finish paying. That can easily mislead you into thinking that all is well. There, of course, you have other loans to pay.
I'm mortgaging your future.
Yes, you have other loans to pay to World Bank, to IMF and others. So it's not simply Chinese loans. But that time, Nigerians don't want to see that time when these people will come and say, because you've not been able to pay back, then we want to take over this facility, we'll be running it. So that is what really scares Nigerians. That's why I'm suggesting that rather than simply taking loans all over the place, that we could adopt the PPP model, whereby you have a build,
Operate and transfer.
operate and transfer. That way, both sides will be happy, and it does not commit you to years and years of debt repayment. That is why it's a lot safer. But what we have, our ministers are not interested in that. All they are interested in is simply, let me go and get this loan. Let me not go and get this loan. But I'm telling you that even outside our country, if we play our card well, we can get investors who will come and do this build, operate, and transfer. And everyone will be happy at the end of the day.
They just want government.
It's just loans because it's easy to access loans.
BC, what's your final take on this?
Well, right now, Nigeria owes China, I think, about $3.1 billion. And that is 10% of Nigeria's total external debt. That is about $27.6 billion. And you now ask yourself, if the build, operate, and transfer is so good an option, why are we not going for it? Why do our leaders prefer to just take loans? Why do we want to just continue to, put the future of our nation in jeopardy? Because, like Babajide rightly points out, I doubt if Nigeria is going to be able to repay the loan at the appointed time. And that is where the problem will come from. And like I mentioned earlier on, China is not likely to forgive debts. You are going to pay at the end of the day. And these debts also, they are not interest-free. By the time you begin to calculate the interest that will mount upon the, the initial loan, you don't even know where you are ending it. Okay. You don't know, you can take, 3 billion today, and in 20 years' time, you may end up repaying about 15 billion, dollars.
Okay, we have to leave it there. Thank you, BC. We have to leave it there. Now, today's episode on Journalist Hangout features reopening of secondary school for students in terminal classes after 4 months of closure due to COVID-19 pandemic. Graduating students resumed in schools in Lagos with strict adherence to the federal government, state government directive. TVC News, Abiola Shonake has the report.
All schools will open in Nigeria. This is to prepare our students for WAEC exams, which will begin on the 17th of August.
The federal government announced the reopening of secondary schools exit classes effective from August the 4th, 2020. That's coming after more than 4 months of lockdown due to the coronavirus pandemic. This decision was reached during a virtual consultative meeting between the Federal Ministry of Education, the Commissioners for Education in each of the 36 states of the Federation, the Nigerian Union of Teachers (NUT), the proprietors of private schools, and chief executives of examination bodies. Different states in the Federation put measures in place to make sure schools are safe for students to resume, but there are conditions these students must meet, particularly the ones writing the West Africa School Certificate Examination and other terminal examinations.
This varies the timetable we had indicated earlier by as much as 2 weeks. What the agreement entails is that WAEC West Africa and all the countries that are in it have agreed that the exams will proceed, but that the exams that are peculiar to Nigeria will be taken from the 5th of September through to the 14th of September.
It was earlier reported that parents of pupils in private secondary schools in Ogun State, who were asked to pay 25,000 naira for the COVID-19 test, kicked against the directive and asked that the test be made free by the government. Students can barely hold back the joy of seeing one another after such a long period. They are subjected to safety measures such as wearing of masks, use of sanitizers, and other as stipulated by the federal government. In class, their seats are 1 meter away from each other. Some of them had been left doing no academic work for months. While some believe the online classes during the period provided some form of solace, others say they were a distraction.
I'm really happy because at home I've not gotten the benefit to learn from our teachers directly and to ask them questions on things I don't understand.
We've had a 4-month break and we've had our exams postponed, and so it's actually nice to be back in school. Online classes can only be virtual, they will always be virtual. You get to learn more in school than online.
Because of my teacher, will break it down for me because we have more time for lecturers, because teachers break things down to your understanding. But the private home lessons, the teacher will want to go home fast because they want to go meet their families, and they are going to be keeping social distancing and avoiding coming to our houses.
The level of preparedness of teachers and school owners towards the resumption was also examined in the course of the interview.
There is a calendar for each academic year, and for these children to play along or to finish what they have started earlier year or last year, let me put it that way, then it will be something okay, at least. Federal government has done something.
It's just a sample, just to test what will happen, and we pray by the grace of God everything will be fine. Since they are writing their final exam, students, they started agitating. They do not want to miss the term. So I think the government have done the right thing.
What they are here to do is a practical aspect of those things that they actually need to see, the chemistry practical, physics practicals, and all other things that has to, they have to see it being done. Left to me, I would think they are prepared enough.
The principal says the school has taken steps to curtail the spread of the pandemic.
Around you can see the washing units, the COVID-19 precaution guidelines, has been put. We have the isolation room, we have a sick bay, we have a nurse. So, and then we have referrals in case we have a case of COVID-19. While they come into the school, the temperature is taken, and every other thing has been done. I think the students are ready. Before we went on break, we were actually on revision. As a school, we finished our scheme by first term, half of second term. So every other thing after that is revision classes for them.
For parents, this is an opportune moment that must not be wasted.
To me, it's a welcome development. So far, everything is already in place for them to resume. I think it's the phase, resumption. Let's see what's going to happen with the SS3, GS3 people coming in. Let's see how the classroom is going to be. Let's see how the sanitation exercise is going to be. And, for the first 2-3 weeks, let's see whether there will be any, reported case of a rise in community transmission of the coronavirus. If there is none, then we can say, okay, the next phase, which is a total or full resumption of every other student, can take place.
The government, I think, should be sensitive, to the yearnings of parents so that they don't miss. But the most important thing is that if the school is resuming, they should make sure that there is adequacy of all necessary things that will make the children safe. That is.
The resumption brings a breath of relief for thousands of school children in exit classes across the country who came close to losing an entire academic session for no fault of their own. The decision to let them sit for the exam came following a broad-based consultation between the federal government and stakeholders. Abiola Sholanke, TVC News, Lagos.
House of Representatives insists on reviewing Chinese other loan agreements as LCCI man back investigation. We'll be right back after this time out. Jide, we're gradually having our lives back, and this will be in phases. So by the exiting classes, that's SS3, that will be sitting for the West African Examination Council. And from what you've seen and measures put in place, are you okay?
Well, a few of the schools, I can say they've done well, but we've not been privileged to go
round.
But at least the few schools that we've seen, they were prepared for it. What we want to see is a situation that promotes the good health of our children, and we want a situation in which, as a result of this examination, so many of the students contract COVID-19 because they are vulnerable. So we have to do our best to protect them. But it's a good thing. I can feel the joy of those children. They have been at home for months. They are tired.
Some parents are tired.
They can't wait. Yes, spending so much money on data, buying data for these people, just to keep them busy. So it's a thing of joy that they are back in school to continue their academic work.
Bisi, what do you make of this resumption ahead of next week's West African Examination Council exam? Ahead of WAEC, what do you make of this resumption? Secondary school students, SS3.
Well, if I may just add, I think it's also good that the Ministry of Education in Lagos State has been going around to monitor compliance with COVID-19 protocols in these schools. I think that monitoring exercise should continue for as long as possible so that we ensure that these safety protocols that have been put in place continue and that the safety of these children are ascertained throughout the time they will be in school.
And when you look at the church thing, will happen the mosque on Friday, the church on Sunday, giving a caveat to it that's 20 now to 50, so they have to space their services for those with a high number of church members, and everything is getting back to normal.
Well, we wait to see the level of compliance. A small church, for example, what they are saying is that you should 40% of your capacity, and a small church that seats normally 60 worshippers. When you are talking about 40%, then that means it's a lot less than normal number of people that you will see during the Sunday service. So, which will allow for physical and social distancing and all that. So, I want to believe and urge our people to obey these laid down protocols for the good of everyone. If your church has a 60 person capacity, has a capacity for 60 worshippers, they don't all have to come. That means it's a small church, the hall is small. They don't all have to come to church on Sunday, So, because if they do, then they are kind of disobeying the laid down protocol. But I'm sure that church leaders will be going around to ensure that they talk to church leaders so that they can obey all of this. I've seen that even the Muslims, they are beginning to. I saw the instructions sent out by the person who runs the mosque at the Lagos State House of Assembly, saying that no hugging one another, no shaking of hands.
Abdulatif.
It's possible that people who had not seen themselves in a long while worshiping together, they may be tempted to want to hug each other. So it's reminded them that no, you can't hug, you can't shake hands, just stay faithful to the laid down protocol so that everyone will be happy.
Are we to go with our face mask on Sunday?
Yes. You have to wear your mask as you are going to church.
So, if
you don't have a mask, they have to turn you back. After all, if you are going into a dark supermarket and all of these, those malls, you are going into them, they will not let you in if you are not wearing.
So if I'm singing worship unto my God, no matter how.
And you can get, you see, there are some masks that allows you to be able to.
N95.
Yes, you can sing. They will hear you audibly. You know, it's no excuse that because you want to praise God, then you don't use your mask.
You don't use your mask.
I know it's tough. It's tough on our people. We've never seen anything like this, but we just have to continue to obey. That's the way we can defeat the pandemic. And it's good news that despite the fact that Lagos State increased testing capacity by 40%, I mean by 40,000 in the month of June and July, the rate of infection still went down. That means progress has been made. If we can add 40,000 more tested persons between those months, yet the number of new cases still went down. It suggests that progress is being made, and we have to congratulate Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and his team for the wonderful work that they are doing.
Olabisi Deji-Folutile, I want to thank you. It was tough reaching out to you. The audio challenges are all true, but then thank you for your contribution. And BQ himself, thank you for always being there. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can always watch the Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzubaku, urging you to stay safe and God bless Nigeria.